Hey guys, just in time for Justin's Week in Review. So I'm going to start this week by going over the top three teams in each division. So in the Metropolitan, we have New Jersey leading the way with a current record of 6-2-0. New Jersey's red hot. I really hope it continues. You know, New Jersey's kind of had their struggles over the last few years, ever since they went all the way to the Cup final. But since then, they've just kind of floundered, you know, and they never really had that consistency. But to start the year this year 6-2-0, that's a statement, and I really hope it continues for them. Second in the Metropolitan is Pittsburgh. However, they did have that embarrassing loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. Ouch, that was very, very bad. However, it wasn't as bad as when they lost to Chicago. You know, that's two games where you just kind of put a big question mark there. And Pittsburgh just did not show up to play last night. It was the second game of a back-to-back, and they looked fatigued. However, lucky for them, they're still in second place in the Metropolitan. Third is Philadelphia with a 5-3-0. I said the other year that on paper, Philadelphia looked like one of the best teams to not make the playoffs. However, this year they really look to be, you know, a serious team to say, hey, we want to make the postseason this year. And I really hope they do. You know, even though I'm a Pittsburgh fan, I really do like Philadelphia. And there's a crazy atmosphere around the Flyers. And, you know, I'm also a big Giroux fan. I'm a Simmons fan. Absolutely love Wayne Simmons. And I really hope that Philadelphia does have success. On to the Atlantic. Top three teams in the Atlantic. Tampa Bay with a 7-1-1, and of course that's tops in the East. I picked Tampa Bay to come out of the East this year and probably even win the Stanley Cup this year. You know, Steven Stamkos is back. He's healthy. He's playing amazing hockey. Kucherov as well, doing very, very well. And with that 7-1-1 record, they are looking like serious contenders at this early point in the season. Second place in the Atlantic, feels weird to say this, right? Because, you know, Toronto have had their struggles over the last few years. However, with that young core they have now, they have a 6-2-0 record currently, second in the Atlantic, and Toronto is a powerhouse team of the now and of the future. Third is Ottawa with a 4-1-3. You know, Ottawa surprised a lot of people last year, making it all the way to the Eastern Conference Final, and they seem to be continuing that success. And you know, they're really fighting for second or even top spot in the Atlantic. They're a very, very good club. On to the Western Conference. Central Division, St. Louis leading the way, 6-2-1. Chicago is next with 5-2-2. You know, St. Louis and Chicago, I've always said, strongest two teams in the Central Division, and they're just going to beat and batter each other for that top spot. Currently, St. Louis is holding that spot, but Chicago's looking mighty good this year. You know, they went out 4 straight to the Nashville Predators last year, and I said in the other video that Chicago is really looking to make a statement after that embarrassment of going out 4 straight. And they're playing really good hockey right now, but so are the St. Louis Blues. And I really hope St. Louis takes the Central. Pacific, LA leading the way, 6-0-1. They're undefeated in regulation. LA is on fire. And last year, you know, they were probably the best team to not make the playoffs. And you look on paper at everybody in the LA Kings lineup, and wow, they have a really, really great hockey team. And they're showing it this year at 6-0-1. And I really hope that continues. I like LA. I like a lot of players on LA. LA has my favorite defenseman in the world, and Drew Doughty. So anytime Drew Doughty's on the club that looks with a record of 6-0-1, I'm a happy guy. Las Vegas, second in the Pacific. Now, you know, in, excuse me, the other video I said how Vegas has surprised a lot of people. You know, starting the year now at 6-1-0, they've really surprised me. I didn't think they would be awful. I know in my video I put them last in the Pacific, but that was mainly because I really didn't know what to expect from Vegas, being a brand new franchise and whatnot. However, these guys have really come together. They've gelled very well, and that chemistry is showing. And with that current record, it's very possible Vegas could be a playoff team this year, and that would be amazing if Vegas made the playoffs their first year in the league. I would like to see it, especially with Marc-Andre Fleury. Calgary, they're third in the Pacific with a .500 record of 4-4-0. So little trouble to get the consistency going for Calgary. However, I really think that they're going to start to pull ahead. I look at Calgary as a great team, great young squad, and I see great things in their future, much like with the Oilers as well as Toronto. So Arizona has yet to win a game. They're currently 0-7-1. I'm not overly surprised by this, but I am surprised that they haven't won a game yet. They played 8 games with an 0-7-1 record. They could be looking to really land themselves at first overall pick. But with Arizona and the whole Shane Doan thing, it kind of came about that they're going about a rebuild. Now, based on with everything that they currently have, I'm actually surprised that would be their mentality, because due to the changes that they made in the offseason with new guys coming in, I really thought that they did a lot to improve their team. But to be 0-7-1, yeah, I'm shocked with that too. Hopefully it doesn't continue that way. Now, Edmonton is still struggling. They're second last in the division with 2-5-0 record. They're getting consistent shots. Very often they're out shooting their opponents. However, they're not getting that quality goaltending when they need it. And defensively, they just do not look strong enough. A lot of people picked Edmonton to win the division, potentially even come out of the West and be a Stanley Cup favorite. But with the current record of 2-5-0, they're not really looking like it. Connor McDavid opened the season with that hat trick in the first game, and since then, he's just picking up the odd point here and there. Now, last year he went on to win the Art Ross. He was the only guy in the league to have 100 points on the season. So hopefully he really starts to pour it on and the team starts to click a lot better, or else they could be on the outside looking in again for the playoff picture. But we're only 7 games in, 2-5-0 record. Perhaps they can turn it around very shortly. And now, as I mentioned earlier, Vegas continuing to shine. They're doing so without their starter, Marc-Andre Fleury, who's out with a concussion. Now, also, they've lost their number 2 guy, whom they picked up very recently, Malcolm Subban. He had to be helped off the ice during Sunday's game, and at the time that I'm filming this, I haven't been able to find any concrete word on what exactly is the injury, as well as how long Malcolm Subban will be out of action. Now, with Marc-Andre Fleury gone, Malcolm Subban gone, who looked great in that game against his former club, the Boston Bruins, won them that game, it's tough to say how Vegas is going to be from here on out, losing their number 1 and their number 2 goaltenders. So we're really going to see what they're made of moving forward. And hopefully Malcolm Subban isn't out for a long duration, because with Fleury and his history with concussions, there's really no telling how long Fleury will be away. Paul Maurice, he picked up his 600th win of his coaching career against the Minnesota Wild. Paul Maurice was actually the coach of the Hartford Whalers way back when. Oh, how I miss the Hartford Whalers. There's something about that logo. I just absolutely love that Hartford Whalers logo. 600th win. Now, Babcock also picked up a milestone win, as well as Ken Hitchcock. So already this junction in the season, we have 3 coaches picking up milestone wins, with Paul Maurice being the 3rd to pick up a milestone win. Now, Montreal continues to struggle at a 1-6-1 record. That's not very good to start the year. Now, they remain last in the Eastern Conference. It's funny how this worked out, because I picked Montreal to not make the playoffs this year, and then after I made that pick, I second-guessed it with the first and the second game of the season. But now that Montreal is 8 games in, it's looking like I may have made the right choice. However, I'm still very surprised with how Montreal is only a 1-6-1. I really thought they would have been a lot better out of the gate, because Montreal always had this tendency to start the year strong, and we've seen that in the past. So there's a lot of people that are very surprised by this. Now, their latest loss came against the Anaheim Ducks Friday night. That made it 7 straight losses. That's not good at all. Price broke his goalie stick against the post in absolute frustration, and he has all the right in the world to be frustrated. Now, Max Pacioretty matched his NHL high with 10 shots that game, so that's a very good sign. Now, he led the team in goals last year with 35. He had 67 points to lead the team in points as well. And now, with these 7 straight losses, Pacioretty hasn't registered a point in those 7 games. So when your top scorer, your top point guy, your captain is not, generating offense, well, it's kind of hard to win hockey games. It'd be the same as if Alexander Ovechkin is not generating offense for the Washington Capitals. It's going to be very hard for them to win hockey games. Connor McDavid with the Edmonton Oilers, that sort of thing. So with Max Pacioretty being snake bitten right now, the Montreal Canadiens are really, really, really struggling. And it's just kind of year to year where they just have this awful inability to put the puck in the net. So what is wrong with Montreal? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. So definitely comment below what you feel is wrong with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, there was a trade. The Penguins have traded forward Scott Wilson plus a third for Riley Sheahan. Now, I'm not overly familiar with this guy. However, I have seen him play with the Red Wings. That's where he came from, the deal with Pittsburgh and Detroit. So Rutherford made it clear that he felt that at center ice, Pittsburgh was not strong enough, and that was the whole reasoning behind this trade. He felt that it would make them stronger down the center of the ice. So we'll see how this all pans out. Now, Ian Cole returned for Pittsburgh after taking a puck to the face. He's wearing the face shield, so it's nice to see him back. Now, are the Boston Bruins latest to be bitten by the injury bug? Currently out for Boston is Tuukka Rask. He's listed as day-to-day with a concussion. McQuaid, he's on injured reserve with a broken right fibula. Krejci is day-to-day with an upper body injury. Miller is day-to-day with a hand injury. And with 4 injuries to 4 key guys, Boston is really going to need to rely on their depth moving forward. With Rask and concussions, my goodness, every time a player goes out with a concussion, there's really a lot of question marks as to how long they'll be out. Every person is different when recovering from concussions, and with every concussion, it can really determine, how long it's going to take. It could be days, could be weeks, all that. So hopefully these guys start to get healthy soon and start to return for the Boston Bruins. It's never fun dealing with injuries. I hate seeing anybody be injured. I always like seeing every team with everybody healthy and everybody competing at their best. Now, Roberto Luongo left the game Friday against Pittsburgh when he became tied up with Connor Sheary at the post. Sheary was trying to go around Luongo, around the net, and Luongo kind of stuck his blocker out, and I don't know, it just kind of bent funny. To me, it looked like he might have injured his thumb, but they're listing it as a hand injury, so maybe it is his thumb. We're not sure at this point, because at the time of filming this, I haven't been able to read anything concrete on the Roberto Luongo injury. So that's very unfortunate for the Florida Panthers. Now, Jeff Carter, he's also out for the LA Kings, not Florida. He had a skate laceration. He was cut by a skate. It's crazy how sharp the guys in the NHL keep their skates. I know, like myself, when I sharpen my skates, there's absolutely no way they'd be sharp enough if I were just to, quickly run the skate blade against my arm or something. I'd never be able to cut myself to that degree. But man, these guys really like to keep their skates insanely sharp. Now, they're saying he's going to be out minimal of 4 weeks, but it could be upwards of 6 weeks. I even read one article saying it could be 8 weeks. So that's a tough loss for LA. They're currently 6-0-1. Jeff Carter, he's always a premier goal scorer in the league. So that's very, very sad to see. I like Jeff Carter, and I like what he brings to the game. So hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. Bobby Ryan will be out a month with a broken finger. Tough loss for the Ottawa Senators. However, they did get Erik Karlsson back, so that's a very good thing. But you get Karlsson back, and now Bobby Ryan with an injury. So hopefully Ottawa can persevere, and I really think they have the depth to do so. In total, there are 137 players right now out in the NHL with injuries. So it's very early in the season, and already we have all kinds of injuries in the NHL. I hate seeing injuries, especially with top-tier talent as well. A lot of people, you know, they're paying money to see these guys, and a lot of these guys are so important to their club that, you know, injuries can really determine a make or break season. So hopefully all these guys get back healthy and ready to go very soon. Eddie Olczyk returns to the booth during his battle with colon cancer. Wow, I was really surprised by this. I didn't expect it. I tuned into the game, and there's Ed Olczyk, and I thought, wow, okay, I thought this guy was, you know, going through chemo or something related to the colon cancer that he's currently battling. So a lot of respect for him, to see him back, and I wish him all the best during this battle, because cannot be easy. Then again, it isn't easy for anybody dealing with cancer. It is awful. And the fans gave him a very nice ovation in St. Louis, so kudos to the fans in St. Louis for giving Ed Olczyk the respect and the recognition that he deserves during his fight with colon cancer, and for coming back and doing what he loves. Now, referee Ian Walsh was honored in a pregame ceremony for his 1,000th NHL game before the Flyers-Oilers matchup on Saturday afternoon. That's a lot of games, 1,000 games as a ref. It'd be interesting, you know, to talk to one of these referees. I bet you they would have a lot of amazing stories. But it was nice for the NHL to honor him in his 1,000th game as an official. Now, Friday night during the Devils and Sharks game, the anthem singer either froze up or they had a technical issue. I'm not really sure. I've actually watched that clip a couple times. But, hey, the fans at Prudential Center, they kind of took over, and they helped out the anthem singer finish. And it was a nice thing to see, because, you know, at first the person who was singing the national anthem, they almost looked a little scared of, oh no, maybe I forgot a verse here or something's wrong. But I'm still not really sure what exactly happened, but they just stopped singing, or the microphone cut out or something, and the fans just took over Prudential Center, and they started singing the national anthem. So that was an interesting moment, a lot of fun for sure, but tragic for the actual anthem singer. Hopefully they come back again and didn't get insane stage fright singing the national anthem. But I'll have to check up on that, because I'm not really sure exactly what happened, because at the time that I filmed this, I didn't read anything concrete. Now, Steven Stamkos is leading the league in points. Now, the other video I did, the Washington Capitals were right at the top of the league with guys for the highest amount of points, but Stamkos has really come on strong. He currently has 18 points, leading the NHL. Now, with everything that Steven Stamkos has been through injury-wise over the last few years, I'm so happy to see him, you know, back, healthy, and just playing at an insane level. I really hope that he continues this trek, and I really hope that he does win the Art Ross this year. I like Steven Stamkos a lot. I think he's a great guy, and I love his two-way ability also. I find he doesn't get enough credit for that sometimes. He's one of the premier goal scorers, but I also think he has a defensive upside as well. It'd be awesome to see him come back, win the Art Ross after everything that he's been through, and wow, Tampa is that much better having him playing at this caliber right now. Now, Kucherov is number 2 in the league with 16 points, and wow, has this guy really upped his goal scoring ability. I mean, if you look over the last few years, like, yeah, last year he hit the 40 goal mark, but every year he's upped his goal scoring production. So this year, could he hit 50? Could he hit 60? With Stamkos back? Hey, it's very possible, especially with these two guys out on the power play. Goal scoring machines, both of them. So there you have it. Those are the stories that I highlighted for this week's Week in Review. If there's anything else that you feel should have been highlighted in the Week in Review, please let me know below. And thanks, guys, for joining, and I'll see you next Monday for Justin's Week in Review.